Hello everybody and welcome to another season of the Tail Racing Ring Runners here. It's season 10 this time around and we're starting off with a bit of an odd car immediately. In fact, we've got a couple of cars early on that you really wouldn't see driving around the Northside very often, but that's exactly what we're here for, and that's exactly what this series is all about. It's the Spec Racer Ford in the opening round of Season 10 here on the Northside itself, with none of the Grand Prix circuit added in this time around. Myself, Ian and James Parfitt will be taking you through the action as always, and we're looking forward to a new season and seeing if Pat Labrosse maybe can defend his title, which he won in Season 9 only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a manic one. As you can see from the schedule on your screens, we go to GT1s next week. I'm looking forward to that one. And the Ligier LMP Freeze is going to be one that's completely out of the box. The other one that I'm going to find interesting is going to be the Pro 2 Lights. I wonder how they're going to get on around here. That's going to be exciting. Then we go to LMP2s, GT3s, Nissan ZX-T GTP, TCRs, and of course the last one, as always, will be Duck Week, where it will be determined down the road. But the Lucas Oil Off-Road Pro 2 Light trucks.
Yeah, that's the real strange one of the season. Off-road. Although we had an off-road kind of car last season, didn't we? I'm pretty sure. So
we did the Beetle, didn't we?
Yeah, that would be correct. Yeah, we did the Beetle, which was quite a long time ago, actually. Now, was that last season or the one before?
Last season.
It was the one before.
No, last season.
Last season. Okay, I can't see it on the calendar. Maybe it was. Maybe it was the season before. I don't know. Anyway, we don't often get off-road cars, but they do appear now and again, along with all the other strange ones as well. But this is the Spec Racer Ford, and it's Jason Hightower who's taken the pole position ahead of Dan Kosick. Scott Sadler and Stephen Johnson will be on row 2, with Dave Mull and Dean Diltz on row 3. Dave Hernandez is 7th ahead of Steve Kubate, with Tim Watchow and Nancy Solomon running out the top 10. Christopher Herring, the last driver to set a time. Corey Stas didn't. Neither did Evan Kratmad or Pat Mish, who round out the 14 in the field. Not the biggest field we're going to see this season, but it is not the most popular car that we're going to see this season either. I must say, the one that I'm looking forward to most is coming up next week in the GT1s. We'll look forward to that. But it's Hightower who's gotten off to the best possible start in the season with a pole position. It's worth noting that 2 of the 4 championship contenders, Pat Labrosse and Rick Putnam, are not here today. So it is down to Corey Stas and Evan Kratmad to fill that void, as it were. But they're starting from the very back after failing to get a lap in during qualifying.
Yeah, I'm interested to see something, actually. Because one of the things we haven't picked up on is Scott Sadler taking the AM win last season. I wonder now if he is a pro, because he generally should get promoted.
I would suspect he is now.
I have changed him, just in case.
Yeah, I think he will be. That's what happened to Dan Kosick anyway, wasn't it? From season 8 to 9. He won season 8 and then was pro last season. Did quite well, actually, as well. I've got to say, 7th place in the standings by the end of the season. Let's see where everybody's going to be by the end of this season as we get season 10 of the Tail Racing Ring Runners underway. Inside line for Jason Hightower, and he's going to go immediately in the Spec Racer Fords. There's no surprises about that. The green flag waves, and the first of 4 laps here this afternoon is underway. Jason Hightower in towards turn 1 takes the lead. Then Dan Kosick in second. Stephen Johnson gets ahead of Scott Sadler for 3rd place. Then it's Diltz and Mull who are at 5th and 6th as they work their way down the hill. It's going to be about staying in the slipstream of those in front of you in the early laps and keeping it on the road as well. They will have a bit of experience now in this car since it's been on the calendar recently, but who's going to get through this opening lap in the front group? And with everybody else so far, everybody off to a good start.
Yeah, no real dramas, which is great for everybody at the moment. Everybody's got away, not a problem at all. You can see on board with Anthony Solomon now. I think the thing for me I really want to watch out for is how much draft effect are they going to have. They're not going to go very fast. We know that. Probably 130 at the best of times, maybe a little bit faster. But for Dan Kosick, he's really closing in to Hightower now. Is he going to be able to make the way through? That's going to be the thing there. And I think for Kosick, it's got to be all about whether or not he's going to be able to climb over Hightower And on that way down into Arenberg, he's looking very, very, very close indeed.
He's not going for it. He seemed to make a conscious effort there not to make the overtake. Sadler, meanwhile, passes Johnson for third. And Dean Dilts is next in line there.
Oh,
as,
Steve Kubay's
towards
off.
Arenberg they come. Oh, yeah, and Kubay and Hernandez both off the road down there at Arenberg. Kubay was running around the top 5. Stephen Johnson's also dropping down the field, by the way. He's actually gone all the way back to pit lane.
Yeah, he's hit whatever he's done, he's hit hard. But Scott Sadler alongside Dean Dilts now. And this is going to be interesting. But again, as per normal, we'll have a look back at the end. Steve Kubay's off, Dave Hernandez went off, and Chris Heron all went off together. Stephen Johnson also off. So 4 cars off, and we'll have a look back and see basically a little bit later on at the end of the race. But yeah, very, very exciting. Hernandez back in pit lane. He looks like his car has been broke.
Yeah, and Johnson back in pit lane with him as well. Bad starts to the season for both of those two, although they will have drop weeks to fall back on if they require it, and they might well do after this round. So Hightower and Cossack are the front two, and it is only 2 at the front. It's Sadler, Dilts and Mull who are the next in line, and Stas who's leading the group from 6th place on backwards as well, on board with Mull here through the triple right-hander. Not quite as tight to the apex as Dean Dilts there, who's trying to get a run on Sadler in towards Verstappen. But a bit of a slide. Oh, and
Sadler's in the wall.
Sadler off. It looks like a slow corner in these cars, and it is, but it's a very difficult corner as well. You saw that with Sadler sliding his way into the outside wall.
Unfortunately for him, he's just got in a little, I can tell you why, but he's got in a little bit too hot, hit the brakes, and unfortunately the car decided it wasn't going to stop, and that was the end of that one for Sadler. Pat Misch has got Andy Solomon for, well, very close company. Solomon again, I don't know who designs his liveries, but he loves that old Liverpool theme. It's on pretty much every car he drives.
Consulting himself after the weekend, I suppose. As he makes his way towards Bergvik, and not... oh, well, has a look, but not able to go down the inside. Thought he initially didn't look very interested, then he did, and then eventually he backed out of it. And Pat Misch will hold on to 8th place. Up the hill, though, surely there's going to be overtakes here. Tim Watchow's very close behind Kratwad, who's made a good start, by the way, alongside Corey Stas. I'd imagine through some of the incidents that has come about. Mull has also got past Dilts as well, just after Kesselchen. So that's a change for 3rd place. But now they're past the kinks. Surely Solomon's going to try now? No, he looks like he's more interested in staying behind. And the same goes for Watchow up ahead as well. Mull and Dilts, meanwhile, are changing positions twice on the run up towards the Muck Curve. That is Dilts getting back through for a 2nd time into 3rd position.
Yeah. Trying to get through now. Is he going to be able to manage to hold it? That's going to be the question. Dilts has held it. Mole sits in. Corey Stas in behind him as well. Dilts goes a little bit wide. If they start trying to go too wide into the carousel, this could be an interesting one. Who's going to back out? Oh, Mole does. But he's now pushed out anyway because Stas bullied him out. Oh, Dave Mole. Oh, he should have made that decision the quarter before, I think, on that one.
Yeah, should have got in line a bit earlier, because then he wouldn't have had the problem of running around the outside and having Kratwad right in behind him here. Round the outside, up through the fast left-hander. That is pretty impressive for Kratwad, who's going to go through here in towards Horak, and he does. So Evan Kratwad through on Dave Mull, and Watchow tries to follow. He's not going to down the inside. Meanwhile, that is that Dilts and Stas side by side. Dilts looking to hold on, and they are side by side. Stas, excuse me, round the outside, inside for the next spot. That is a very impressive overtake. 3rd place for Corey Stas, and this is a great recovery after not qualifying. Up 9 positions on this opening lap.
Yeah, done an absolutely stellar job, and that's primarily by keeping it on the race circuit. I think that's the thing. We obviously lost the likes of Hernandez, Stephen Johnson. That was 2 places in behind that. Heron went off the circuit. Kubay's been off the circuit. Sadler's been off the circuit. So for Corey Stas, it's all about just keeping it up and keeping it going and making sure he's going forward there. Hot sauce he's got on the front of his car. Chili habanero, apparently, whatever that may be.
No idea. That's all about. Some sort of condiment he's advertising there, clearly, as he runs around in 3rd place. giving quite a few drivers a bit of a slipstream at the moment. Dilts, Krapov, Mull and Watchow just in behind him. You can see them through Stefan Belafes, and just further behind, Solomon still behind Mace, but still unwilling to make the overtake for whatever reason right now. He stays behind it towards Schwab and Swanson. We'll see if he actually does anything on the long back straight, but so far Solomon has not shown any signs that he's very interested in making this move.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to have a choice.
Oh,
Mish did it for him. Popped out a Klein, put the power down too early, and unfortunately around he went for Pat Mish. So that was the end of that one. These guys coming onto the dotting at home. How fast do we reckon we're going to get out of them? 130?
Yeah, 140, 50 maybe, I would say. We got 130 pretty comfortably on the way towards Sarenberg on this lap. So it's going to be Dilts who's going to have the most speed. Maybe 140 is probably closer to the truth as he makes his way up the hill. But watch what happens when they go down the other side as Dilts goes roaring past Corey Stas, as you'd expect him to. Now then, does Stas try and come back again for third place? Or is he? Yeah, he will immediately. And back down the hill here, he's going to be reaching the high speeds. Yeah, going to be in the 130s. Immediately gets back past. So you've got to time this right in the slipstream on the back straight, and we always knew that was going to be the case. You've got to make sure you don't get through too soon, because it's very possible in these cars for you to actually make the repass, if you like, and that's exactly what Corey Stas did there for third place. You need to go past late enough in the straight so that there's no chance to reply for Corey Stas.
Yeah, and make it around the first and final corners. You know, we've seen so many people get down to the final corners leading and end up in the wall. So, you know, they want to make sure they can get around the final corners as well. But I think this is going to be a nice, interesting four-car fight. If Mole can stay with them, how they're going to handle it. The thing is, the car's not overly wide, so you can take it too wide at certain places. And hopefully we're going to have some great racing with all of these cars finishing, of course. The last thing we want is them to all end up in the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope that this battle especially continues right to the end, because it's the largest group on the circuit by some distance. Watchow's no longer part of it, but Dave Mull is trying to make sure he's not at the back end of it now as he makes his way on the outside towards Flugplatz. Dilt's doing the same up ahead with Stas. He's a lot further alongside, and they're both going to have to be very careful. It's going to be Kratwell who's got the best run now. There's no chance to go free wide though, so he just has to stay behind Stas here, and they're both going to break train. Dilt's on the outside. Now Kratwell's going to go for it. Oh my word, 3 wide. I didn't think we'd be seeing, and eventually they do back out of it. That could have been a lot worse. Oh dear, Stas is still on the outside. Dilt's holding the inside line. Here comes Kratwell on the inside, ready for Arenberg, and he might well get this. Evan Kratwell on the inside, and he does, up into 4th place. That was close to contact at moments there as they work their way down the hill again through the Fuchsrow. It's Mull versus Dilts, and Dilts has gone backwards. 2 places lost now.
Yeah, the problem is as well, did you see Dave Mull? He had to brake on the straight. He had no choice. He had so much overspeed, but he just couldn't go anywhere. He literally had to brake on the straight, which is great because 9 out of 10 times people and officials would have just ran you over. But for him, absolutely stellar job there. There's such a massive overspeed. It was absolutely insane for Dave Mole, but he just didn't have anywhere to go. Stas now has got Crownfield in behind Mole and Dilts. His Ford not giving up, and they're slowly bringing in Dan Kosick. So Kosick's going to have to be careful over the next couple of laps.
Certainly is, yeah. He's in a big group here is Stas, and he's looking down the inside. Evan Kratwell here, in towards just after Meskersfeld. It's Callenhard there through the right-hander. Not able to get past this time round. Stas holding on well here. With all the changes in this group of 4, the one constant is that Stas is at the front of it here in 3rd place. And he's doing a good job at holding on to that position. That's Mull having a look down the inside. Got to be really careful on the... He very nearly hit Kratwell there, and he's paid the price, unfortunately, with his own position. Mull down now behind Dean Dilts.
Oh, way too quick for Dave Mull. Way too fast. He just went in like an absolute banshee. Managed to not hit the barrier. That was the most important thing for Mull. Making sure he didn't hit the barrier, and he didn't, but he was just a little bit late on the brakes. A little bit too late there.
It's unfortunate for Dave Mull as we go aboard with Evan Crowd here, trying to get past Corey Stas again. Now up the hill through Kesselschön. He's going to get the big slipstream here, and he's going to be getting the outside line if he wants it, but it doesn't look like he does. Oh hello, careful pushing through here. You are turning at the same time, and look at that. Absolutely nose to tail through the left-hander, through Kesselschön, and Crowd is pushing Stas all the way up the hill here. Phenomenal stuff. The fact that they haven't crashed with one another is a bit of a miracle, but they're working together, and it was high risk, but they have gained nearly a second on Dan Kosick, for example, in second place by doing that.
Yeah, now Crawford's going to look at... I thought he was going to look there. He didn't. No, not again either. You can see... Oh, hold it. He did manage to hold it, I think. And he did. And now, as you say, they've opened up 2.8 seconds over Dean Diltz and Dave Moll, but depending if they were trying to run side by side, well, these guys were doing some push work, which I'm surprised worked, to be blatantly honest.
I am as well, actually. That's surprising, but there you go. It did work on the run up the hill, and Dan Kosick's being caught pretty quickly now. 1.7 seconds is the gap. It is only a gap coming down and going in the favour of Stas and Kratwald right now. Third and fourth place, the two of them, but I reckon probably second and third pretty shortly. It remains to be seen, though, whether these two are actually quick or whether they are just helping each other with slipstream. I suppose it doesn't matter in one way. If they stay together and they keep working together, they could even catch Jason Hightower before the end.
It's 4.5 seconds back, though. It's going to be a big ask, but as I said, if they can keep gaining what they did on that last run down the Dottingham High, where they opened up like 1.2 or 1.3, you know, it's gone further now. It's nearly 4 seconds to the guys behind. But Moll and Diltz here, they've kind of got to do the same thing at the moment to get the gap closed up, but they're not really making that work as much as Stas and Krautfeld. And I think that's because Krautfeld seems to literally follow Stas around the racetrack. Wherever Stas goes, Krautfeld goes. And you can see Moll and Diltz in the background are running different lines, but Krautfeld and Stas seem to be stuck together like Velcro.
Well, they are, but it looks like it's helping them just for now, as they make their way down the hill through the Stefan Belafes as well. Another bit of gain here as they get on to... Every time there's a flat-out section here and you don't have to really think... And even in the corners, to be honest, as we saw through the long run up the hill through Kesselschön and towards the fast left-hander at the Muck curve. Even through the corners, they're helping each other. Now, 8 tenths of a second. Kosick is going to be freight-trained here by Krautwald and Stas, unless... Krautwald decides to do something he hasn't done all battle so far and battle with Stas, then this is going to go their way, and Kosick might well struggle to even latch onto the back of them here as they go through Gavenkop. Here we go. So 6 tenths of a second. That's sort of the right kind of region actually for Stas to get through late enough in the straight to not be re-overtaken, but also not too early for things to get strange down the back end of the straight. So 3 tenths of a second. Look at the double slipstream here, and Stas immediately sort of pulls out the slipstream. He almost doesn't need it. Krautwald just pushes him all the way up the hill, and this gap's going to come down to Hightower. Just watch that. It was well over 4 seconds when they got onto the straight here, but these two working together have got it down to 3.5. It's going to be just closer to 3 when they get to the braking zone, and Kosick did latch onto the back of them here. So it is a group of 3 now chasing down Jason Hightower, and at the moment they're getting success chasing him down.
Yeah, if I was Hightower, I'd stay there. Diltz and Moll were side by side. Moll was now sat in and taking the position away. They changed positions about 3 times going down the Dottingham Hoe, but for them, they need to be doing this. They don't need to be doing what they're doing, because you can see the gap's 3.6 seconds, and we do expect it to come down. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sort of 1.5 to 2 seconds by the end of this lap, really, considering, you know, lap times are about 7.5, 7 minutes 45, give or take, and these guys are working together on every straight possible.
I would say that maybe they're not quick enough to manage this anyway, and they've decided that. they're never going to catch them, so they might as well fight between themselves. But there probably is something in that these guys working together are going a whole lot faster than any battle that have not been working together so far. It does matter a lot on Crouchwell, though. I think that's worth saying here. It matters a lot who is in second place and how close they are to the driver in first and how they're pushing them on these sections, because notice here the gap's not changing because Crouchwell's nowhere near Stas. Now he's going to catch up, but is Kosick going to fall into line here and do what they're doing?
No.
He's not going to, and Crouchwell's going for a move as well now. So this is going to get difficult for these three. Very difficult indeed. They'll gain a tenth or two on Hightower in towards Arenberg this time, but they're exchanging places and they can't really afford to do that if they're going to catch the leader.
No, they had it right the right way round. I think they had it right. Look at the gravel on the outside of Arenberg. Jesus. I think that was from lap one's incident, to be honest. Stephen Johnson's had another little dramatics for him, unfortunately. He is still on lap one, believe it or not. But yeah, these three, I think it needs to be, they just need to follow. Do you see Mole and Dilts in the background? They're still running side by side. They don't care what's going on up front. They're just having their own fun and a little battle race here. Mole on the inside does get the job done as well. Pat Misch is making his way back through the field with a very battered Spec board there. That's just a livery.
I think it is battered. Well, maybe not battered, but it is quite damaged. As it's battle for yeah, there you go. See a lot more of that front right tyre than you should be able to, and that means that Mace has hit something on front end. It is worth noting that Krautwald actually does have a slightly misshapen front end as well, because he's been pushing Stas around the place. It will do that. It's slightly crumpled in a couple of places as a result of you see the marks on there as well. So it's difficult, and now Stas has got to do that job. I agree though. I think they were probably in the right way round before. Krautwald had practice and now has the knowledge of how to push, especially on those difficult ones where they're going through corners and so on up the hill. Stas doesn't have that experience now, although he was on the receiving end of the push, so maybe that helps, but there's nothing like actually doing it, and so this could get difficult. We'll see what happens on the run up towards the muck curve this time.
Yeah. As I say, I think they were the right way around the first time. I don't believe they should have changed. I think Stas was beneficial being in front of Krautfeld, and Krautfeld was better at the pushing, but we're going to find out, as you say, coming in through Bergwerk now. And is this going to be a moment where Stas is going to toe the line to start pushing Evan Krautfeld like he was?
See, this is the important moment here. 3.4 seconds, and watch that gap come down or not. Here is Stas. He's going to go for a move. Oh, this could be trouble for these guys if they want to win this race. It could be trouble because they were catching really quickly earlier. Now they're not. Now then, Krautwald needs to get in line and start pushing here if he wants to win here. They've got it back the way round again it was before. Now he's going to give a bit of a push. There you go, a bit risky, but he'll get away with it. They gain a few attempts, but not many, and they've got to be absolutely working together here through this lap and a half to the end, and they might have a chance before the checkered flag if they don't make any more moves on each other. I think one more side-by-side moment and it's over for these guys.
I agree with you. 100% agree with you. And yes, we do agree up here in the JPB booth sometimes, myself and Mr. O'Leary. But I do 100% agree. They need to push. It's down to 3 seconds. As I said, I'd said 1.5 by the end of the final lap. I reckon they probably could have got that if they hadn't had their little bit of moments that they were having. And I think at the end of the day now, Krautfeld's got to play the game. Get him on the final lap. It's not going to make a massive difference. Get him on the final lap and, you know, you'll be fine at the end of the day. But just work together. See how close you can get him to, because it's down to 2.9.
It does work when they work together here. It absolutely does. But they keep going side by side every now and again, and it ruins it, really. So got to work together. They could knock about half of that gap off if they push each other down the long back straight. We've seen that in the past when they were passing Kosick. Admittedly, they did get the slipstream from another driver as well, but even so, this could be a big chance here for these two. If they want to start the season off with a win, And it would be remarkable for either of them because they've both gained 10 places. They started 12th and 13th, don't forget. They want to start with a win and a great performance through the field. They've got to work together here. 3.2 seconds. And Krautwald is as important in this equation as the leading driver, Corey Stas, in second.
Agreed. Yeah, I think they've got to now just try and get that gap down. They're losing a little bit of time in through here. It's back out to 3.3. It's like a 3/10 loss. Now this is where Krautwald can make the difference again. Go to the left because that's the shortest bump. There you go. Now going to dig it in. Get him now. Get him. Get him. He goes and forward he goes. Can't afford to push him here. There you go. 3.4, 3.3. But watch the drop and the dot and a hoe if they can stay together. It will come down mighty.
Yeah. It will. It will be absolutely huge if we do get that on the back straight here as they work their way out now at the small carousel. They do lose a bit of time through the corners. I think Hightower is certainly the deserving race leader here, but there's more to these races than just raw speed. It's tactics as well in the Spec Racer Ford. Now, this is the important moment. They've actually lost even more time. It's 3.5 seconds now, but they can gain this back to about 2 seconds if they work together. Here we go. Krautwald is working together. There's the first push. Now the gap's going to start going their way. Oh, careful. Got to stay in line. Don't spin each other out. Oh, wow. We're getting really loose on the front straight here. Or the back straight, rather. We are really pushing this right to the limit. But look at the gap tumble down. These two are working out a way to catch up to Jason Hightower. They've got to do this on every flat out and straight section for the remainder of this race if they want to be in the conversation for the win.
Agreed. And it's 2.5, 2.7. They can get it down to 2.5 if they can just do the push through Tiergarten. They can. 2.5, 2.51, 2.4. Now they've got to do it again. Get through the first half of the Nords and get the run up into Arenberg and push the hell out of each other through that as well. Final lap of the race. They've got to nail every part. Krautwald is so reliant on Stas putting his car in the right place that he needs to be able to push him because they can't afford to drop time. 2.5, 2.7. It's going the wrong way at the moment.
Yeah, it is a bit. That's the problem through the corners. It can start to go the wrong way a little bit. The positive is that you don't need to worry about all 3 seconds, just need to get it down to 1 second because you can gain 1 second on the straight and you'll have the slipstream as well. So ideally, you want it to be maybe 1.5 seconds closer than it is at the moment, and that is possible when you put it like that. They've got to keep motivation here. The concern I can see for these two is that they start to give up on the fact they could catch Hightower and they start to battle between each other like we saw towards Arenberg last lap. Almost a giving up that they are not going to get the win here, and you know it is unlikely, not suggesting that it's going their way and it's surely going to be theirs at the moment, but it is possible here. Now then, what does Krautwald do? He immediately gets into the back of Stas. This is where it's dangerous a little bit, but he is pushing him down the hill. They've got to take another 0.5 seconds here, and more importantly, they've got to keep that 0.5 seconds through the corners because, as you say, they lost a lot of time through the hats and back that time round.
Yeah, they did. Krautwald doing what he needs to do. 2.8 coming into Arenberg. They've got to get on it a little bit. 2.6, 2.7. Solomon and Watch Out have swapped places further back as well. Solomon's gone through on Watch Out, got the job done for him. Mole still got Dilts in and around him. These guys are very, very close indeed. Stas and Krautwald still nose to tail. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing and then get him on the dot and a hoe if you can't get through. What's the issue? This is the thing. What's the issue for pushing him for the next 3/4 of a lap to see if you can get there? You might be able to. You might not. It's unlikely, as we said. But if you're going to fight all the way around, you definitely aren't going to get there. So, and even then, if they do fight up until the end, Krautwald can then make a decision and go, actually, we're not going to get there, so I'm going to have you.
Yeah, exactly. Although, to be honest, you might as well wait for the very end to do that. So I think we are going to see them try right until that back straight, and then it's going to happen on the back straight no matter whether they're there or not, because even if they do catch Hightower and get in the slipstream for the win, Krautwald's going to try and go past Stas anyway for the win as well. So it's all going to happen right at the very end here. Mull and Dukes, by the way, are still running absolutely nose to tail in 5th place. and they've shown no signs of wanting even to get ahead and to the group in front. And I mean, fair play to them. They are just battling for 5th place, and if that's all they believe they can get to, then absolutely nothing wrong with that. Solomon versus Watchow as well for 7th is ongoing, and that is the lead in Am, by the way. Solomon has caught and passed Watchow, and he looks quicker now as well.
Yeah, he does. He's opening up the gap at the moment, about 1.1 seconds for Anthony Solomon, so fair play to him for that one. He's moving away from Watchow. He's moving away, but then everybody else is getting closer and closer. Mole with Dilts now in behind. Krautfield with Stas. There's going to be another push. He's literally there. That's the scary thing. He's just literally up the road. You can see him now. But Krautfield, I don't think, can get close enough.
He's got to, yeah, he had to be closer out of Bergvert that time round. He had to be closer because they've wasted all of that straight without even pushing. Now he'll get to him, and he knows the risks he has to take in doing it as well. These two are really close to sending each other into the wall by doing this, but they've got to. Oh, if he was there a bit earlier out of Bergvert, he would have gained a lot more. There'll be chance after the muck curve, by the way, if he can stay close through here. And he will stay very close. So this is going to come down below 2 seconds, but this is the last real straight section before the back straight, really. So was that enough? I'm not quite sure it was.
1.6. Oh, mate, I think they might. It's. I could see this going 3 wide down through under the Bilston. It's going to be that close.
Yeah, it's not going to be earlier than that, is it? It's not close enough to be earlier, so it's either going to be very late or not at all. And 1.3 seconds shows that it is going the right way. Is Jason Hightower just making a small error here or there? This is now on Corey Stas, who mentioned time and again how this has all been on Evan Krautfield here, and his pushing. Well, now it's down to Stas. Now he's the one who's got to do the work through the twisty sections. And it's down to 1.2. He's got to keep it here. At the very least, he's got to not lose any time through this final sector.
Yeah, 1.3, teetering on the edge of 1.32 to 1.2. This was their main problem last time. They lost a little bit of time. There goes another temp, 1.4. Can't go out, 1.5. It needs to go back the other way. 1.4, come on, because otherwise we're not going to get this 3 wide drama. Heron and Johnson look like they've just had a crash at separate points on the race circuit. So again, we'll have a look back at that. But this gap, 1.44. If they push down the Dying Ho, this is going to be enough, you know.
It's going to be really close. I think they could well be in the region. Don't forget, they gained a second last time on the Dottinger Herb, but they would get the slipstream off of Hightower in that region as they gain that second. So it could be closer. Krautfield needs to be closer through here as well. He's close-ish. They could get a 10th or so with a bit of a push down here through the Stefan Bellafest, but it's not going to be easy. This is a really crucial final few corners before the crowd straight. Oh, nearly got alongside. They needed a push there, and in fact they've lost another 10th.
Oh, man, he got so much speed, he wasn't all in line. And he nearly ended up going up the side of Stas, 1.5. Oh, mate, this is going to be about as close as they're going to get, because once they get into that second range, they are literally going to motor. Krautfield's got to be up his bum. Literally right along. Get up. You've got to hit him as soon as you get off the Dying Ho. And he is closing in now. This is going to be the moment. This is going to be the one. They've got to follow, but Krautfield's got the hardest job now. Try and follow a car that's going to be weaving all over the racetrack. And he's not there. He's not there at the moment. He is there now, no. But this is going to be it. I don't think they're going to get there.
No, he wasn't close enough. Out of the final corner, look at how hard they're trying, though. They're pushing really hard now on the straight. 1.3. They're going to start to get some slipstream soon. They're going to have to try and chase it, but they can't do it. They can't chase the slipstream when they're pushing each other like this. Stas is going to get a huge run, though. The gap's less than a second. Down in towards the final few corners. Hightower pretty helpless as they work their way down the other side of the hill. They are still going to gain a second because of the slipstream and so on, but it looks like Hightower's going to hang on here as long as he nails the final braking zone. Stas closes within half a second. Really late on the brakes as well. Very nearly getting into the back of Jason Hightower, but they can't do it. Krautwald wants that second place as well. He can't get it.
Got it.
Oh, he's going to go wide, Stas. And Krautwald's going to get second place, but it's all in behind Jason Hightower, who hangs on just about for the race victory. Further behind, Mull and Dilts are fighting for 5th place, and Mull will get that. Who's going to get the AM win? It's side by side for the first AM victory of the season between Tim Watchow and Anthony Solomon as well. Side by side into the final corners. Watchow on the outside line is going to have a tough job round there, and he's still on the outside. He's still alongside. There may have been contact there. He's around the outside, and he will take the win. The first win of the season for Watchow, just ahead of Anthony Solomon.
That was epic. That run in was awesome. As Cabay comes over the line, we've got to wait for Heron. That run in, dude, and you know when the moment it went wrong? When Stas and Krautfeld swapped positions. If they'd stayed where they are, I reckon they would have got him. I tell you what, they nearly did. And Krautfeld grabbed Stas right at the end. We're going to have a look back at that once everybody finished, but oh, dude, that was so close. Epic.
Fantastic stuff in this race between those two. Or three, rather. But yeah, fantastic racing between Hightower and Krautwald. They end up second and third. Krautwald actually getting Stas at the end. It looked to me almost as if Stas pulled over and let him have second, almost as a thank you for giving it a go and pushing me the whole way round. I'd be surprised if that's the case, but he might have done that. And in the end, Krautwald finishes in second place. But goodness me, that's what the Spec Racer 4 can do. Last season, we got a 4-wide moment and a big crash. This time round, we got a nail-biting finish between 3 different drivers. I think at least, maybe from memory, Stas and Hightower were involved in that 4-wide crash as well. So change of fortunes compared to last season for them. But what a great finish. What a great way to start the season. There's very few cars that produce it racing quite like that. I don't think we are going to see racing quite like that again, even this season, because these cars do produce something special. And on this occasion, it's Hightower who wins. But goodness me, what a great finish between those 3.
Yeah, it was absolutely epic. We'll have a look back at the end once we've just gone through some of the incidents. Hernandez comes over the line. We've just got to wait for Sadler, who unfortunately has had a bit of a rough one since he's been off track. So see how it goes on. But you've got to think, if that's the start of the season, what's the rest of the season going to be like?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be fantastic action. Starting with the GT1s next week, by the way, the Aston Martin and the Corvette. I'm really looking forward to that, by the way. I've said it already, but I am really looking forward to the GT1s. A bit of a throwback on iRacing. If you were around about 10 years ago or so, you'll know that was the endurance racing GT top class. There were no GT3s back in the day, or GT4s, or anything in between. It was GT1s when iRacing started out, when the HPDs were flying past them in multi-class racing. In fact, when Le Mans was added to the service as well, it was GT1s who were the top GT class then as well. So wonder how much experience these drivers will have had on in those cars, rather. And what kind of racing we're going to see next week. But what a great start to the season it's been here in the Spec Racer Ford. Scott Sadler making his way over the line in the last of those who finished in 13th. It was a victory for Jason Hightower in the end, ahead of Evan Krautwald and Corey Stas, who were chasing him all the way. Dan Kosick, bit lonely at the end, even though he was running second early on. Dave Mull and Dean Dilts battled to the line ahead of the AM winner, Tim Watchow, who just about beat Anthony Solomon to the finish. Pat Mays finished in 3rd place, with Steve Kube and Christopher Heron rounding out the top 5 in the AMs. Dave Hernandez was next to Scott Sadler, and Stephen Johnson did do enough laps to be classified, actually, finished only 1 lap down. He was chatting afterwards in the Discord, by the way, why he even bothered, because he was. He says, this is obviously going to be one of my drop weeks. And Pat Mays, I think, rightfully saying that you never know. So it's good that Johnson did at least run around it for enough to get the points here today, even if he did finish last. This is what happened throughout the day on the replays. Kube and Hernandez making contact here. Although Hernandez making contact with someone else. Kube going off.
Yeah, he did. And then coming into that, Heron also come off the circuit as well. So 3 of them all going off together. And Heron, bonked Hernandez. That could be why Hernandez is.
So that's where, yeah.
The damage was, yeah. And then Stephen Johnson did that, but we'll have a look back a little bit more at that one, how he got there. Look at the gravel. And then onto the curb, and then unfortunately, just going to go round.
Did it on his own.
Yeah. Bang. Round he goes. Ends up with no nose. Right, that put Hernandez back in the pit lane. Hernandez tried to keep going, but then unfortunately it looks like he then come a cropper further down. He pulled over and realised that actually he couldn't get going, and that was the end of Dave Hernandez. This was Scott Sadler's incident. We just caught the back end of this.
Oh, yeah, big slide on the way. It looks so unspectacular when you're riding on board with someone else, but when you're actually watching it from the viewpoint of the driver who's gone off, you realise just how difficult that section is at Verstappen. And he wasn't the only one to find the wall, or at least to spin down there, as we saw throughout the rest of the day. Pat Mace, getting the small carousel all wrong. We saw that live, actually. Was that just in front of Solomon? Mace did carry on with that damage to finish in third place by the end of the day, but he was running ahead of driver eventually, a battle for the win. This is that difficult section again. Not only Scott Sadler who went off through there, but Dilts had to slow down for Dave Mull, gathering himself up through that section as well.
Yeah, and then Stephen Johnson had another bit of dramatics on his own, unfortunately, over the curb. Ooh, snap, round he goes, bang, again. That's a Galgan cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like he's just lost a lot of time there. And then this is what put Sadler into pit lane.
That's the same corner again.
Same
really
thing.
Struggling with it, and it's almost the same crash. Wow,
Yes.
That's almost like watching another replay. Oh dear. We've got our first roll of the season, and that is one of the more bizarre as well.
So slow. There was like a little tickle roll.
Yeah.
Oop. And then all of a sudden, pop, and over we go. There we go.
Pretty annoying, I'd imagine, for Scott Sadler as well.
Yes.
He did eventually finish the race. It really didn't deserve a roll over that crash. Anyway, side by side for Steve Kube and Pat Mace. Oh, inside curve for Kube, and he's lucky to get away without more damage there.
Wow. You lucky boy. Absolute lucky boy for Steve Cabeda. That could have been a lot worse. Chris Heron. Now, he didn't really pick up on him throughout the race. Oh, first off, you nearly touched the grass. Oh, man, is this going to be a Dilts moment? It is. Bonk. For him, the first one. But at the same time this was going on, Stephen Johnson was doing this. Not quite sure what he's doing, but he's very, very slow. And then all of a sudden he goes back off the circuit and jumps straight back to pit lane from there. I can probably guarantee it was probably still an 8-minute tow through even from there, to be blunt. But yeah, he jumps back into pit lane. And this was Chris Heron's another moment.
See what happened to him just after Brunchen. Had a difficult race, Christopher Heron. Just a quick spin, really, or half spin.
Yeah.
Lost a bit more time, but he wasn't really around anybody to... to himself going again rather bizarrely. And meanwhile, while that was all going on, the battle for the win was happening as well. So just pull out the way here of Kravard to let him past or not. I'm interested to know. I'm probably not going to know by just watching this, but
yes,
it just looks bizarre to me. Where he left the door open at the final corner. It looks a little bit weird. Maybe it is a bit of a thank you for pushing me around. Now, this is the battle for the win in the AMs. That I suspect there was a bit of contact here through the final corners.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on this camera. It's a lot easier to try and see. But I think you might be right. I think there was a little bit of an argy-bargy moment here with Solomon. Yeah, he's rode the curb. Is he going to doink him? Ooh. Oh. That was either the biggest
like
dose of
really,
Internode. Yeah, I was going to say netcode or Solomon corrected that. Interested to see that again, which way around that was. Because he, his wheel doing. Speed him up a little bit. Otherwise I'll have to wait 5 minutes for him to get down the straight.
So, there goes... Watch out initially He goes a bit too early, so Solomon's allowed to get back alongside him again. And they hold this side by side all the way down the final straight of the race towards that braking zone. They're both absolutely on the limit here. Now, is it Solomon correcting?
No.
No, it's contact.
Contact. Internet. Internet played a part on that one. But that's it. That was it. Very, I was going to say not really dramatic. Not as bad as some of the ones we've had, obviously, over the seasons. But a good race. I enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed it as well. It's a good start to the new season 10 of the Tail Racing Ring Runners. We'll be back next week with the GT1 class. That'll be on the 24-hour layout, by the way, of the North Side, and we'll see the Grand Prix circuit for the first time this season as well. But a good opening to the season here in the Spec Racer Fords. I've been Ewan alongside James Parfitt. Until we see you next week for the GT1s, it's goodbye for now.